loose. The first stars landed eerily quiet, like mountain-sized embers. They struck deserts and oceans, gouging craters and boiling seas. Yet the impacts were unlike any stone strike. The objects were stranger, shimmering masses of radiant matter that pulsed with heat and a low song. Witnesses said the fragments felt alive, whispering memories from across the universe. Some swore the shards carried knowledge, entire libraries encoded in light. Others said they carried madness, visions too vast for a human mind to bear. Pilgrims formed lines to lay hands on fallen light. As nights grew darker, constellations dissolved one by one. The Big Dipper lost its handle. The Southern Cross fell piece by piece until sailors could no longer find their way. Cities that drowned in neon met true darkness, and fear spread like frost. Without stars, farmers lost old calendars, religions lost symbols, lovers lost the poetry of night. Scientists scrambled for causes. Had the stars always been fragile lanterns? Or was some hidden force dragging them down? Telescopes watched as whole patterns unhooked and drifted toward the world. Then consequences arrived that no prediction had caught. With each missing constellation, reality shifted. Gravity wavered, compasses spun. Days stretched too long, then snapped short. Auroras wandered across clear skies, in places that had never known them, like curtains of whispered electricity. It felt as if the universe had been stitched by distant points, and now the seams were coming undone, threads knotting into the ground. Rivers changed speed without warning. Birds migrated in circles. Time itself felt bruised. On a windless night, the moon shimmered as though submerged in invisible water. Entire cities stood outside in shared silence while the last bright points trembled. Elders wept. Children clung to parents. Even the indifferent felt a hollow ache. Then the final cascade began. Thousands of stars slipped free at once, pouring downward in rivers of fire. They did not burn away. They fell whole into oceans, forests, and mountains, scattering like seeds. In their wake, the sky became a perfect, depthless black. The world was remade. Nights turned roofless and blank, but the ground began to glow. Forests thickened around embedded shards. Leaves silvered and shivered with a faint radiance. Oceans filled with new translucent life, schools of light weaving through pillars on the sea floor. Roads shone where dust had settled. Inside human minds, something opened wider. Dreams lengthened and grew precise. Strangers woke with identical ideas. Languages came easier, as if memory had sprouted extra rooms. No one knew if this was blessing or curse. Navigation collapsed, satellites failed, and faiths split between punishment and liberation. Science surged on the back of impossible materials and equations that behaved as if space itself were a fluid to be shaped. Miracles followed disasters, cures followed accidents, and greed shadowed wonder. We had traded a window to infinity for a mirror that reflected our hunger and our hope in equal measure. Generations later, stories persisted about the old sky, when children looked upward and learned the language of distance. Now, they looked down at meadows of fallen constellations and walked among them like thieves who had stolen the fire of heaven. Healers pressed warm shards to the sick and listened for private songs in the glow. Engineers carved circuits through cooled star stone and built engines that moved without fuel. Farmers tuned their fields to a patient blue hum and watched harvests glow faintly at night. Artists painted with powdered light that never faded away. The world carried a quiet, radiant heartbeat no one understood. A question haunted every heart. If the stars were seeds, what were they meant to grow? Some planted fragments in gardens and waited for light to take root. Some locked them away and waited for safety to return. Some followed the midnight music and claimed they could hear futures branching like trees. And somewhere above, in the perfect emptiness where constellations once lived, something vast shifted its weight, like a sleeper turning, and waited to see what we would do with a universe that had fallen, glittering and unreadable, into our hands.